It is now week 4 in our History 101 course, and I'd like to begin this introductory video with a quick reminder to please write down your login, your passwords, and the emails associated with your Canvas and Inquisitive accounts. A few students have lost their passwords or misplaced their logins and are frustrated on Sunday when they can't access their accounts. So please make sure that first you're logging in early in the week so that you can resolve any problems like that. But also please just write down that information on the hard copy of your course syllabus. So this week we will be learning about the growth and development and life in the British colonies. You are reading Chapter 3, Colonial Ways of Life, 1607 to 1732. You are watching this video, and you are watching a video about the Salem witch trials. That's about 45 minutes long. And you are completing Inquisitive, Chapter 3. And please make sure that your Inquisitive account is linked up to our student set so that your work in Inquisitive will be sent to me and to my gradebook. If you don't do that, you'll be doing the work, but you won't be getting credit for it. So make sure that your account is hooked up to the student set. And if you're having any trouble, I've left this video here to help you with logging into Inquisitive. You'll be taking the week 4 test as usual, the written test. You'll be participating in a discussion about the colonial regions and choosing which region you would like to live in. This is an exercise in historical empathy. It's important that historians be able to step outside of their own lives and step into the world of the people that they are studying. And so you'll be doing that this week. And then finally, there's an optional extra credit project in Etudes, and this link will bring you there to Etudes. And for this extra credit project, you'll be looking at the history of Halloween. So if you always wondered why we're wandering around on Halloween in costumes, you should definitely do this extra credit. It's optional, and it can add up to 2% to your final course grade. So if after all the work is done, you earned 88% in the course, but you fully and accurately completed the extra credit, it'll add 2%. So it would bring you from 88 to 90%. So it's a good hearty chunk of extra credit, so I recommend that everybody do the extra credit. This week, you are reading Chapter 3, Colonial Ways of Life, 1607 to 1750. This chapter deals with the growth and development of the colonies in the 1600s through the early 1700s. At this time, the population was expanding, and so was poverty. The rich were becoming richer, and more colonists were becoming poor. People were marrying younger and having more kids. Death rates were declining as people lived healthier lives. They were exposed to fewer diseases than in Europe. Women living in the colonies were expected to be subservient to men. This meant that they were expected to submit to men and serve men. Women did much of the same work that they had done in Europe, including domestic labor like keeping the house, gardening, caring for children, and helping in farming. However, in the colonies, women could do more other kinds of work because there were not enough male workers. So there weren't enough men to run all the printing presses, for instance. There weren't enough male silversmiths or shopkeepers or tavern operators. So women began to step into some of those jobs. Widows whose husbands had passed away could also continue to operate their husband's farm or business, which gave those women some wealth and power. The chapter then proceeds into comparing and contrasting the 3 major colonial regions, the South, the Middle Colonies, and New England. The map on page 90 shows the diversity of people living in the British colonies. In many places, all of the places that are not marked as green on the map, the other colors, in those places, over half of the people living in that area were not British, even though these were British colonies. The chapter explains the emergence of race-based slavery in the colonies. It describes how and why slavery emerged and the ways in which the colonists used local laws called slave codes to create a very restrictive system of slavery. Finally, the chapter concludes with a discussion of culture in the colonies, and it deals with two major movements, the Enlightenment and the Great Awakening. The Enlightenment, represented in this slide here by Benjamin Franklin, was an intellectual movement from Europe that encouraged rational thought, science, individualism, and political rights. It spread through the upper classes in the colonies. The Great Awakening, represented here by Jonathan Edwards, was a religious movement that spread through the lower classes, which brought a new, exciting, emotional approach to religion. Many preachers emphasized the horrors of hell and stressed that the poor were more worthy and likely to be saved than the rich. As different as these two movements were, they both contributed to the coming of the American Revolution. They both emphasized the importance of the individual, and they challenged traditional authority and traditional ways of thinking. Soon, the colonists would challenge the traditional authority and power of the king. Thanks for watching this week 4 video. Have a terrific week, and please email me with any questions.